Good afternoon. Lloyd Priest, the chair of the House Opportunity Commission. I should welcome you to our Open Cities Commission meeting. We're going to start the meeting by introducing the members of the commission to our president, our vice chair, Angelica O'Cam Nelson, Jimmy Coon, and Commissioner Tampa First. We also have Commissioner Jackie Don, so welcome aboard, Jackie. So we can't see you, we know you are present. And Commissioner Berkowitz, we know is our town advisor, so we need to excuse from this meeting. So I'd like to start the meeting today in legal fashion, having we have no persons who signed up for our community forum today, so we don't have anyone who is requested to speak before the commission. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the report of the executive director, Chelsea Andrews.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, commissioners, staff, and members of the public. I'm pleased to present the August 2022 Executive Director Report, starting with our Resident Services Activities Update. Our Service Coordination Unit provides assessment, counseling, information, referrals, and program services to HOC customers. During the month of July 2022, staff continue to provide services primarily virtually due to the COVID pandemic and the continued closure of HOC offices to the public. However, our resident counselors continue to engage our customers to determine their needs. During July, our customers were referred to our partners and received food and other assistance. The counselors also continue to perform wellness checks with our customers to ensure their safety and assess their needs. Customers with delinquent rent were referred to and connected to the COVID Rental Assistance Program, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and the Housing Stabilization Program. During the month of July, HOC's customers also continued to receive referrals to unemployment assistance, temporary cash assistance, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, Maryland Energy Assistance Program, and many other benefit programs that are also outlined in my report. Some highlights from July activities with our resident counselors include the following. At Cider Mill, and you can go back to the previous slide, please, until we get to that portion. Thank you. At Cider Mill, our team continued to engage with our Department of Health and Human Services Outreach Network to facilitate the Summer of Peace event. It was held at Cider Mill on July 22nd, 2022. The purpose of the event was to promote peace in the community and to provide information on community resources. During the event, there were games, music, a dance contest, and food was provided. Our resident services team also continued to provide support to the property management team in addressing rent delinquencies by conducting outreach assessments and providing referrals. We also conducted multiple workshops, fundamental of housing workshops, and resource sharing workshops. Resident well-being continues to be a priority for us. There was a senior brown bag food distribution at Elizabeth House. And in partnership with St. John's Church of Bethesda, we facilitated the nutritional education and food distribution event at Waverly House on each Friday in July. Additionally, we facilitated a virtual community bingo activity at Forest Oak Towers. Our resident services team has also been very busy assisting with relocation and recertification assistance throughout our portfolio, including our renovation and RAD projects at Rockville Town Center, Stewart Town, Shady Grove, Willow Manor, Bow Park, Town Center Olney, Sandy Spring, Willow Manor, and Georgian Court. As you can tell, there has been a lot of robust activity ongoing, but that's not it. Our programming also included in the month of July, providing food resources with support from our community partners. I'd like to highlight and thank Manna Food Center, Emmanuel Brinklow, Seventh Day Adventist Church, Montgomery County Senior Nutrition Lunch Program, and the Capital Area Food Bank Senior Brown Bag, and My Groceries to Go programs. We also facilitated an Arts for the Aging program and hosted a monthly virtual activity in July in which adults participated in an interactive sing-along to the blues. Now for the slide that's on the screen, as you can see, our ongoing support with Commissioner Simon and our residents continued this month at Tanglewoods Community Library Pilot Project. On July 20th, 2022, Commissioner Jackie Simon and her dog Thor hosted a reading event for our youth at the property. On the screen are photos from that event. Next slide. Thank you. We also had the pleasure of hosting in our HOC Academy multiple programs for our youth this summer in the month of July. For background, the HOC Academy is an agency developed initiative developed to help our customers reach their fullest potential by providing educational, enrichment, job training, and job placement opportunities to both youth and adults. The program specifically focuses on education and enrichment for youth and education and workforce development for adults. Some of the highlights in the month of July include the K&M STEM-sational program, which started this month. Participants met virtually Monday through Thursday. There were 24 youth engaged in this program, ages 3 through 5. During the first week of the program, the participants completed a virtual field trip to New York City. They also learned fun facts about the first roller coaster in the USA, which was built in New York, called the Cyclone, and learned about the engineering of a roller coaster. There was also discussion and enrichment around learning about the first pizza shop in New York City. And our students planted a pizza herb garden with both arugula, basil, oregano, and they'll track the growth over the course of the program. Our students also had an opportunity to visit Philadelphia virtually. And as you can see on the next slide, they had a great deal of fun throughout that program. This slide depicts our Young Science Explorers program in collaboration with Montgomery College, where our youth also had an opportunity to do science fun activities. The program included field trip, lab work on a mobile laboratory, games, lunch, and from our students' perspective, the highlight of the program was the trip to the Learning Undefeated Explorer Lab, where they learned the foundations of engineering by building rovers and testing them. And through these photos, you can see, next slide, that our students really had a wonderful opportunity to engage and learn this month. And next slide, please. In regards to our adults and the adult education and workforce development, in July, I'm pleased to share that 2 students from the Small Business Strategy course began their 3-month mentoring sessions to complete their business plans. Both students have completed final presentations and are ready to legalize their businesses. Additionally, the HOC Academy received 44 requests for tuition assistance, and we're currently processing those requests. Financial literacy continues to be a pillar that we work with our customers and individuals on our waiting list on. And during the month of July, our financial literacy course coach provided one-on-one financial literacy coaching to 11 customers and 8 Housing Path waitlist members. 6 of our customers and 5 individuals from the waiting list attended multiple workshops throughout the month. Moving on to supportive housing. The supportive housing program provides housing assistance and case management services to 239 participants who are formerly homeless and have disabilities. The program services some of the most vulnerable residents in our county, In July, our program staff continued to conduct home visits with program participants following COVID protocols. And during the month of July, our staff continued to work hand in hand with our rent supplement program rollout, which is the shallow subsidy rent subsidy of up to $600 per month to county residents who have difficulty paying their full rent with their current income. Our fatherhood initiative, which we are all very proud of as a national model, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, continues its great work. As we all know, our agency was recently awarded a renewal of the grant, and that grant will begin year 3 in October 2022. In July, 34 fathers were enrolled in the program. Additionally, 24 fathers graduated from the program in the month of July. HOC's Fatherhood Initiative has completed its work on strengthening the implementation of responsible fatherhood program study. The target number of fathers projected to be served in this grant year is 356. Yet at the end of July, we surpassed that with over 363 fathers enrolled. Our housing resource division update, specifically focusing in on the housing choice voucher program. As reflected in my report, our division selects applications from the housing path waitlist with the goal of achieving and maintaining a 95% program utilization rate. I'm pleased to share that our current utilization rate remains at 95%. Currently, we have 259 families with issued vouchers that are searching for suitable units to rent and 166 contracts that are pending execution. 200 families were selected from the waiting list just in the month of July. During the month of July, our division did receive 8 requests for voucher extensions beyond the 90-day period. Thank you, commissioners, for modifying our plan to consider flexibility around that waiting time. Of the 8 requests, 4 families were notified to contact the Human Rights Commission and Commission of Civil Rights for possible discrimination. Additionally, 67 customers were recommended for program termination effective July 1st. However, due diligence by our resident service counselors allowed us to work with customers to assist 39 families and to overturn their terminations. The program will continue termination for 28 families for the reasons articulated in my report. And we will continue to try to reach out to those customers that we have not been successful in contacting. Our emergency housing vouchers. As we know, we received 118 emergency housing vouchers. Currently, 77 families have successfully leased units and 41 families were issued vouchers are continuing to search for units. Our FSS family self-sufficiency update includes our ongoing work despite the pandemic to meet virtually with our participants. There were no new enrollments this month because pursuant to HUD rules and regulations, during the period of time in which our action plan is under review, we must pause on enrolling the members. However, our team has been very diligent and has been continuing to engage with our ongoing members. Our staff prepared and will present the FSS action plan to the entire commission on September 14th and subsequently to HUD upon approval by this commission. We are currently in a public comment period, and that comment period requirement is 45 days. In the meantime, our managers continue to work with customers on their long and short-term self-sufficiency goals. Mainstream disabled vouchers. I'm pleased to share that our organization, our commission, was awarded 50 mainstream vouchers. That's the maximum amount that we could receive, and we received our full request. We received notification of this on July 29th, 2022. With this allocation of vouchers, we'll continue to assist non-elderly disabled households to secure permanent housing. Information Technology Division update. Our IT division and our staff have implemented the Yardi PHA client portal for Rent Cafe, which launched on July 11th, 2022. This portal is a suite of online services that enables our program participants to access our Yardi system. Participants through this program will be able to complete their initial, annual, and interim certifications through an online guided process and ensure that they meet program eligibility requirements. They are also able to submit documentation online. Other portal features include tracking housing assistance payments, unit inspections, online messages, and correspondence. This system will allow us to house all of our data in one central location and facilitate an easy-to-use vendor support online interface. We're extremely pleased with the rollout of this program. We're continuing to modify and train and ensure that our customers know how to utilize this program. As requested, we made sure that our customers also can view help videos, not only at the kiosk, but also from their computers at home. Our IT staff continue to provide support for this as well. And we are in the beginning stages of beta testing this with some of our properties as well. Cider Mill Apartments and the Leggett would be two properties in which we attempt to roll out Rent Cafe in the future. I'll go to the next slide. Thank you. The Laureate, and this is our real estate development division update. Construction continues on the Laureate, a joint venture between HOC and its development partners, EYA and Bozzuto Development, formerly known as Westside at Shady Grove. This is a Class A new construction, mixed income and mixed use housing development located just steps away from the Red Line Shady Grove Metro Station. The 121,268 unit transient oriented development will house the future HOC Up County Service Center and will feature a variety of unit types, of which 30% of our units will be affordable, including 67 units at 50% AMI and 13 units at 65% AMI. Recently, we completed construction activities to the located pool deck, door trims, many other tasks as outlined in the report. And as you can see displayed in these beautiful photos, we are well under our way in completing the work at this site. And look forward to a ribbon cutting in the future. Next slide. The Leggett. On August 3rd, 2022, myself, along with the Deputy Executive Director, the Chief Real Estate Officer, the Director of Development, toured the Leggett, which is a 15-story, 267-unit mixed income senior property, which includes replacement housing for our current Elizabeth House residents. It's being constructed on top of the future South County Regional Recreation and Aquatic Center. Our residential unit interiors are expected to be completed in the fall, with the Aquatic Center and Recreational Center following in early 2023. As you can see depicted in these beautiful photos, work is well underway. Formerly, the Elizabeth House 3, the Leggett will honor and memorialize, pursuant to last month's commission meeting, the former county executive Isaiah Ike Leggett, which under his leadership in Montgomery County has created an extraordinary legacy of advocacy for senior housing for many generations to come. The Recreational and Aquatic Center will also house a senior resource center and primary care facility that will be operated by Holy Cross Hospital. We are all very proud of this development. As you can see in the photos, the exterior cladding is nearly complete, and there are a lot of wonderful features to this development, which includes Thunder Max, which is a decorative laminate Also, our exterior curtain walls and residential walls are installed. Of particular note, the interior walls are also soundproof. While we were visiting, a train went by and we didn't hear a sound. So very pleased to share that this facility will be one in which our residents and those who enjoy it will be able to enjoy it without hearing the nearby metro. The testing of the competition pool concrete shell has been completed. That's reflected, I think, in the next slide. You will see a beautiful photo of this large opening, and that is the pool that's being developed at the Aquatic Center. And this competition pool will have family and friends that will be able to observe from the sidelines and cheer on. Our carpet is down in our residential corridors. Many of the unit entrances are already painted, and the only addition of wall trim and painting completion remains. Inside of the units, the team is preparing for punch walks towards the end of this month. There are multiple beautiful, attractive features for this property, and we look forward to bringing it to the public and to releasing it soon, and look forward to the conclusion of construction. As you can see depicted in this photo, this is a view from one of the units, actually, and it depicts a beautiful overview of our region. And we anticipate the opportunity to celebrate with a ribbon cutting in the fall. Last slide. Lastly, for commissioners and for the public, we wanted to highlight events that are coming up here in the month of August. There's a series of wonderful opportunities for engagement with us, and we'd ask and encourage individuals who would like to gain more information to visit our website at www.hocmc.org and go to the Enrichment Programs tab. And I will pause for any questions. All right, thank you, Commissioner.
One question, not question, just an observation. On the calendar events, maybe I don't see it, but there's an upcoming county fair coming up, I think starts this weekend,
Oh, excellent.
you know, so go out there and get your great corn.
Thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention, Mr. Chair.
It's interesting when you're talking about the Leggett. I took my grandson up from school sometime in camp, and when we would come past the Silver Spring Metro, he would ask me, "What is that blue building?" And so we've been able to marshal the progress by how much blue is no longer there. So the blue building is going away. So going to see the progress is coming on very well in that building. Thank you for that. Any other questions from commissioners?
Looks like everyone can see Mr. Soto hit home runs again on the 12th.
Yes,
So we're back with the Padres.
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. See no other questions. I will go to the next order of business, which is the commissioners' forum. I don't know if anything the commissioners want to share with each other. Commissioner Nelson.
Yeah. We are going to be receiving the end of the fall, the single audit report, which is what happens every year around the end of the year. And this is the time that I think it's appropriate for us to begin the process to engage our internal auditor. So I'm requesting through you and the executive director that we take the necessary steps to prepare the RFQ for an internal auditor, as we did in 2018. The contract we had in 2018 was a one-year contract with 2 renewals. It ended in 2021. We've had a hiatus because of the pandemic, but I think it's a time for us to re-engage someone to look at the operation the HOC and the Health Commission as we perform our oversight. So I'd like to make that request.
The question noted, and I'm quite sure that the executive director will give us some feedback on that in our September meeting. Any other items? I just want to thank commissioners who have taken the time, some time to share information that they are receiving from the various organizations that they are a part of in outside of HOC. And some of it is very informative. I want to encourage you all to keep sharing that kind of information because it augment what we need to know in terms of doing our role here at HOC. So thank you all for that. So I want to acknowledge that that commission's part. If there's nothing else to come before us in the commissioner exchange, I go to the next order of business, which in fact is the approval of the minutes of our past meeting. And I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Jackie had something.
I believe there's a correction in the minutes of the July 13 commission meeting under the home ownership program. I believe in our administrative plan, we approved 3 of those 4 items, and we asked for further information on the 4th item. Page 17 of 47. The minimum income requirement, I thought that was put aside.
Whether we were gonna raise it to 40,000 or leave it at 24,000.
So you're saying there's no action taken to approve either the $24,000 or the $40,000 limit?
Yes, I believe Rick made that motion and I seconded it, but we had considerable discussion about it.
Was this that it was sitting at 24,000 and has been in practicality 40,000 being used? And the question was, did we know at what point that change happened? Is that what you're referring to, Jackie?
Yes, but if I'm not mistaken, we asked the staff to come back with more information on that particular item before it was adopted.
I don't know who was present on that, but I think that what that change was simply really just ratifying what was already being done. So we were not changing the income limit. It's already been used in the program. If you want to know when it was initiated, you can certainly get that information. Hopefully that will conclude to affirm that in terms of approving these minutes.
My recollection could be inaccurate.
Commissioners, if I could ask indulgence, I'll ask the staff to look back closely at that portion of the notes. We could reconvene this vote once we have an opportunity to see if the vote was to approve these 4 points. And so I'll look to staff to get that. Thank you.
I would.
Wait a minute.
Do we want to go to-
Check receipt.
Are you going to do that now?
I was going to ask staff to look, yes, Commissioner, because I do believe that this is the reflection of the July meeting. We can look closely to see what was actually approved so that it's properly reflected in these minutes. And there was, and I do recall, engagement around why this requirement was placed here. I recall, as many of you all do, the reflection that this was just to update our actual policy to reflect what we're doing. What I want to be assured of is that when the final vote happened, when the motion was made, that it was to adopt these 4 recommendations. And so I would ask my staff, and I can't see online, but I did hear quickly a voice. So I want to make sure that the staff looks at that and we're able to confirm that the minutes properly reflect what was voted upon.
Well, we will defer any actions from now until later in the meeting. hope you can give us an answer so we can move forward with the approval of this. Because the fact, again, all we're doing is simply ratifying an action that's already been done.
Agreed. Thank you.
Okay, can I move then to right now table the minutes? We will come back to them. And we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the report from, I think it's the
Administrative.
Administrative Committee, chaired by Commissioner Kelleher.
Yes, the administrative committee met and we reviewed information from the staff about the voluntary self-CMAP scoring that is done for HUD. And this is a way that we can look at our performance relative to several criteria. And Executive Director, are you going to provide any background on that at this point, or Ms. Hayes, or would you like me to fill in on what we went over at the committee?
Actually, I will provide a quick overview for the commission, and then we will have both Darcel Cox, our Chief Compliance Officer, and Lynn Hayes present this recommendation to the commission.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so commissioners, today's briefing on this matter will be led by staff in both our compliance and our HRD divisions, as this report reflects in our self-certified Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification, CMAP. Over the course of the pandemic, our agency has experienced a decline in our rating from a high performer to a standard performer. I want to acknowledge our compliance team for diligently working to objectively evaluate our performance while identifying areas of improvement, and our HRD team, who despite many of the challenges we have faced with turnover and customer challenges as a result of the pandemic, have managed to sustain and in some cases improve our ratings. We take our commitment to excellence seriously, and I am confident that in today's reporting, you will learn how proactive we have been to remedy these challenges in our course of action moving forward. With that, I would like to request both Darcel Cox, our Chief Compliance Officer, and Lynn Hayes come to provide an update in your briefing.
Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, I am Darcel Cox, Chief Compliance Officer. And today I'm coming to you to ask you to authorize the Executive Director approval to submit HOC's fiscal year 2022 Section 8 Management Assessment Program certification to HUD. CMAP is designed to measure whether Section 8 tenant-based programs operate to help eligible families afford decent rental units at the correct subsidy level. In addition, it measures that the Public Housing Authority perform in key section areas to enable program integrity and accountability. As Executive Director stated, over the past 2 years, HUD waived the submission of the CMAP report. So we have not submitted one since fiscal year 2019. Of the 14 indicators, 10 indicators, we sustained or improved the rating compared to fiscal year 2019. Indicator 14, we increased our score by 2 points, receiving the full maximum point value. We were able to do this by increasing the enrollment rate from 66.94% to 81.63%. In addition, HRD increased the percentage of families with escrow balances from 55.51% to 66.38%. The threshold to receive points for this indicator is 30%. Out of the 14 indicators, there were 4 indicators where there were a decline in ratings compared to fiscal year 2019. Or we received less than the total possible point value. Indicators 2, reasonable rent, and indicators 3, determination of adjusted income, received scores of less than the total possible points. Reasonable rent refers to comparing rents to similar units prior to approving an increase to rent to owners. Determination of adjusted income includes verification of income, assets, and allowable deductions, as well as using correct utility allowances where applicable. The decrease in scores were a result of quality control findings at the processing level. Rent reasonableness indicator received a pass rate of 87.87%. However, you need a 98% or higher to receive the full maximum point value. Determination of adjusted income indicator received a pass rate of 85.47%. However, you need a score of 90% or above to receive the full point value. Indicators 10, correct tenant rent, received a score of 0. However, the pass rate was 86.32%. However, again, to receive any points, you need a 98%. The correct, all right. So compliance and HRD, we will meet quarterly to review the outcomes of training needs, the quality control reviews, and also HRD team will take corrective action immediately upon confirmation of any oversights. 2 inspections related indicators received a score of 0. Indicator 6, HQS enforcement. This measures the degree to which inspection deficiencies are corrected within the required time frame, 24 hours for emergency repairs and 30 days for other repairs, as well as abatement of housing assistance payments due to owners' failure to correct these issues. Indicators 12 measures the degree to which HOC performs annual HQS inspections timely every 12 months. Indicator 6 received a pass rate of 81%. However, you need a score of 98% or higher to receive the full point value. However, if you do not attain the full point value, you do not receive any of the points. The annual inspections indicator indicator 12 requires a 95%, that 95% of the inspections are completed within 12 months. In order to receive partial points for this indicator, you need a 90% or more. An analysis of the data indicated that we did not meet this minimum threshold. HOC's Inspection Services Department experienced critical staffing turnover and organizational restructuring during fiscal year 2022. Inspection Services is now housed within HRD and is under the direct control of the Director of HRD. HRD is currently working to correct any issues that may have contributed to deficiencies of the inspections related indicators. HOC staff continues to work diligently to improve the accuracy of all HCB program activities. Specific attention is placed on quality control reviews for the items outlined above: customer annual recertifications, third-party income, assets, and deduction verifications, inspections, income, and rent calculations, rent reasonableness activities, and enrollment and process in the FSS program. Before I open it up for questions, I would like to turn it over to Lynn Hayes to provide additional information.
Good afternoon, commissioners. For the record, I'm Lynn Hayes, Director of the Housing Resources Division. I'd like to acknowledge the reduction in our CMAP scoring in the areas of adjusted income and tenant rent. The past 2.5 years have been challenging for staff working through a pandemic. However, we've made significant accomplishments throughout the year. Staff have continued to serve all of our customers while working remotely. We've processed all annual recertifications, interactions, and certifications while using new technology. We began using EcoMail to automate the delivery of incoming mail. We've increased our program utilization rate to 95%. We've increased our FSS program size to 376 families. We graduated 11 families from the FSS program, including 4 home buyers. We recently began using Rent Cafe to allow customers to submit their annual recertification and interim changes online. We conducted 22 refresher trainings to housing specialists regarding the Housing Choice Voucher program requirements, including income calculations, medical expense deductions, and prorated rent calculations for households with mixed immigration statuses. We implemented Google Classroom with recorded training so staff can revisit the training materials. During the pandemic, staff were faced with numerous challenges. Correspondence was often delayed or not received at times because of issues with the U.S. postal system. Some customers had challenges using the technology systems in place. Several customers lost jobs, resulting in a higher submission of interim changing, thus affecting the workload. The attrition rate increased to 50 families, again resulting in a higher workload for staff. Though staff trainings have been continuous, the inability to meet in person also had an impact on staff. Though trainings via Zoom may be practical, they're not as impactful as in-person meetings with the supervisor or trainer. As we know, not everyone learns or receives information the same. The Great Resignation also affected us tremendously. During the pandemic, we lost 17 housing specialists, which is 65% of our specialist portfolio or composition. The increased vacancy rate posed a strain on the existing staff. Also, several of our staff became sick and used FMLA to care for themselves or their family members during the pandemic. To combat these issues and increase our CMAP score next year, we will meet with the compliance team quarterly to discuss systemic findings and provide staff trainings. We'll continue to conduct quality control reviews and meet with staff individually to provide feedback in areas needing improvement. We'll continue to update the standard operating procedures and administrative plan to incorporate regulatory and procedural changes. We will continue to have monthly refresher trainings with the HRD trainer in person and continue to report the trainings. We have returned to the office as we're in phase 1 of the return to office plan. So we will meet with staff in person. We will continue our recruitment efforts to fill the vacant specialist positions. And we'll utilize Rent Cafe, which allows customers to complete their annual recertifications online and upload third-party verifications directly into our software and minimize the loss of documents and the requirement to obtain third-party verifications directly from the source. Regarding inspections, we have made significant progress. We are meeting with the inspection contractor monthly to provide the report of inspections that are due and check in with them. To date, they've received inspections that are due through the month of October. We will train the inspection company to exclusively use Yardi, our system of record. The inspection company has increased the number of inspectors dedicated to HOC from 6 to 11 inspectors, sometimes 12 if needed. We will track inspection activity with Yardi reports and Yardi inspection dashboards, comparing the information with PIC HUD system of record that centralizes PHA data. We've seen a marked improvement in inspection activity. In the month of June, 1,794 inspections were conducted in comparison to 521 conducted in the month of February. All emergency inspections and complaint inspections have been addressed immediately upon receipt. So I will take any questions that you have.
Any questions from commissioners?
I got one.
Sure.
Commissioner Cronin?
Lynn, what is the time given, once the inspection, a resident finds a place? What is the time that the inspector has to inspect that place? And also, this is the second part to that question. Would it be the landlord's, if you're checking the landlord's inspection or our property? Which one takes the longest?
So I can only speak to the HCV or housing choice voucher inspections. If you have questions related to HOC's portfolio. I think Nathan would probably be better equipped to answer that. But upon receipt, when the tenant locates a unit, we have 15 days from receipt of that information to inspect the property.
Okay, but what about our properties?
The same.
Same, okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Other questions? Commissioner Nelson?
Well, I guess one, HOC is better than 79%. We all know that. And I know that the COVID has presented a serious challenge, but what's bothering me is that some of these areas are areas of concern that have been raised over, if I'm not mistaken, the last 5 years. We've talked about inspections, we've talked about the difficulty of determining income and rents, and it's been raised in audits, and therefore should have been at the top of our list of concerns. And I'm not comfortable that we have paid and are paying the amount of attention that we need to correct these. For the two of you to meet quarterly, and I'm not going to try to get into who has to meet with whom, but because, and I don't have the record of how far back these audits were. Memory serves, it's been at least 5 years because I remember raising these questions. We need to have better control over these areas that keep coming up. And just getting a commission meeting with a recitation of reasons why we don't have a higher score isn't quite enough. So I just want to express a really serious concern that I have as a commissioner. And I think we need to pay more attention and communicate more. I'm not sure how much some of these are discussed with your committee, Fran, during the course of the year. But this is something that has to be addressed, and we can't afford to have these kinds of things come up, because my guess is we're going to see the possibility of some of these coming up in audit time when they do compliance reviews, all that. So it's really disturbing.
I think, Rick, that the administrative committee will expect to hear quarterly as to what we are doing. I'm hoping that the staff actually are talking monthly and have monthly reports that they can look at, but that we as the administrative committee will look at what they have pulled together quarterly. I would also suggest that this is an area, as the new executive director looks organization-wide about staffing and resources, that these areas deserve special attention because of the fact that entropy has been a very strong force. Every time we get the staff built up and trained and back on track, entropy seems to intervene. Certainly during the pandemic, it was in a particular kind of whammy to be hitting of residents not wanting inspectors in their units, inspectors becoming ill because they were going into people's units, the income issues. It's a complex process, but it shouldn't be one that you can't be trained for. And so looking at the turnover and the hiring and the salaries and the resources that we have dedicated to these issues, I hope will be part of what you look at when you're giving your organization review. I agree that we need to put effort in. I mean, this is bread and butter for what we do.
I just have a quick question for the executive director. Do we conduct exit interviews when staff leave? And if so, are we looking at the data to perhaps through their answers, try to look at what are some of the pain points as to why the turnover is so great among the housing specialists?
Absolutely. Yes, we do look at exit interviews, and I've had an opportunity to look at exit interviews over the last year. Also, oftentimes, if individuals are placed on performance improvement plans and or notify their supervisors of the reason for their departure, sometimes it's they had an opportunity at another agency that pays more money or moving for other reasons. But yes, we do conduct exit interviews. We do, of course, take that feedback and incorporate it in terms of how we approach recruitment, retention, and any additional resources we need to address. I would like to make a couple of notes too. Of course, for this particular division, there is always a high number of turnover because in many instances, there are individuals who are coming in, learning a new trait, a new skill, and finding themselves much more marketable and looking for other opportunities. We, of course, will continue to look at retention strategies as well as ensure that a part of the organizational development assessment that's done, we look at compensation and how we can best position ourselves in the market. Currently, despite the fact that Ms. Hayes reported that there was over 65 individuals who left during this period of time, that number has decreased significantly. There's currently only 10 vacancies, and I believe of those 10 vacancies, there's 3 pending offers. And so I do know that we are in a good posture to bring on a new team that can commit to our future and ensure our success. I also want to just highlight, of course, and appreciate the concerns raised by you, Commissioner Nelson, and reiterate that these are areas, of course, that we take very seriously. I did have an opportunity to also do some reflection in terms of looking at where over the course of years, going back to 2017, where we have seen ups and downs in our CMAP. I will share that, of course, without a doubt, the inspection component has and is the area that caused us to go below our standard high performer status. And within just a short number of months, within March or May, is when Lynn Shop took over inspections. We have gotten ourselves positioned to really address that inspection backflow. If we had received those full points, we would be a high performer, and we'd be talking about how we can continue to strengthen our rent reasonableness assessments, but it would not have caused this type of impact on our rating. I'm very confident that with ongoing reporting, which will happen on a quarterly basis to the commission, as well as on a much more frequent basis to me, that we will be able to turn this around. Of course, any additional thoughts, feedback is welcome. Thank you.
Well, let me just say, any questions from Commissioner Simon on this matter?
One more question, just one more question.
Commissioner
to
Coombs?
ask. With the specialists, do you think they're being overworked? How many cases do they have?
They have approximately 330 cases.
Each one,
Pardon me? Yes.
specialist. So with the 10 that you said that you could try to get on board, that would give them less, correct?
No, so it's 3 specialist vacant positions currently. I believe the executive director was referencing all vacancies, not just housing specialists. So there are 3 vacancies, and once those positions are filled, it would be the same caseload.
There'd be 330 cases.
Yes.
Let me just comment that CMAP scores are very important to the agency. It rates our performance, and I know you all know that. So that's not new. I just want to acknowledge, I think, the kind of robust approach that you all are taking right now to address the issues, and I appreciate that. And I think many of us can be aware of the impact that COVID, remote working, and other things have had around the place. And, one of the things that I always dislike when people are trying to explain why something happened is that we are not alone in doing it.
Right.
But it does raise my curiosity. And And so I did make a few phone calls to a few people I know, asking about what were they seeing around the country. And in fact, what they are seeing is what's happening to us. They are seeing a downturn in the number of authorities that are high quality, the performance standard, because of just these exigencies. It's affecting everybody. It's not unique to us. But I do think what is unique to us is the way that we take on aggressively, trying to address them and trying to keep the commission informed about it. And so I'm glad that you all are going to be providing regular reporting. And I would encourage the executive director to include this in your executive director's report. If you can periodically speak to us about what is happening in this area, so we'll know what's going on. And that would be very, very, very helpful. So I want to thank you, and again, we understand and appreciate the fact that you all are trying to address it aggressively.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve resolution number 2262?
I move.
Submission of our CMAP plan.
I second.
Moved and seconded to a submission of the CMAP plan to HUD. Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
The next item is review of the next resolution 22-63, which is an approval from the, I guess that's from Budget Finance and Audit Committee.
No, it's from the
Development Finance.
Development Finance Committee. Commissioner Simon has asked me to take this item since she is not physically present today, though she is on the phone. This item is to approve a draw on the PNC real estate line of credit to provide interim financing for Westwood Tower Apartments. And the matter will be presented, I believe, by Marcus Irvin and Catherine, well, I never know who to do first.
No,
Marcus is gonna introduce Catherine. We all work, right?
For the record, Marcus Irvin, Director of Development, HOC, joined here by Catherine Hollister, Senior Financial Analyst, to present this matter.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Catherine Hollister, Senior Financial Analyst in the Real Estate Division. Staff is requesting Commission approval to draw on the PNC Bank Real Estate Line of Credit to provide interim financing for Westwood Tower Apartments. On March 26, 2018, HOC financed Westwood Tower using a conventional bank loan with a 3-year term. HOC subsequently extended the loan 5 times, each for a term of 90 days. On June 22nd, 2022, HOC executed a final 60-day extension, extending the maturity date to August 26, 2022. Given the upcoming maturity, staff recommends that the Commission provide interim financing for the property in an amount up to $20.36 million, which is sufficient to cover the loan payoff amount up until the maturity date. Staff recommends that the Commission utilize the RELOC as the source for the interim financing for a term that is coterminous with the expiration of the RELOC facility to allow time for staff to evaluate permanent financing options. A resolution for this item can be found on page 47 of your brief book, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from commissioners?
This item has been reviewed by the Development Finance Committee, and I would move approval of resolution 22-63.
Second,
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 22-63. Any questions? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. Thank you all very much. And good luck on finding permanent financing expeditiously as possible.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. If we could have just a quick moment of reprieve so that I can speak with staff to find out if we received feedback in regards to the minutes. That's for.
Thank you.
change from existing practice. So the discussion that we'd had prior was mooted, not muted, but mooted by that. And it's an intended, in the future, if we're going to change practice, we'll go through the normal process. But in this case, we were really just reaffirming what had been the practice instead. And I think that was in fact discussed in the commission meeting. Yeah, I think should be reflected in the discussion takes.
So it has been properly moved and seconded. Thank you for raising that additional clarification. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So ordered. Thank you. There's no other matter to come before the commission today. And so I'm going to officially declare the meeting adjourned.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.